So I have shared my whiteboard. Okay. Acha, initially, let's just discuss a few things that we have studied already. So we started statistics. Statistics में हमने अभी तक जो total चीजें देखी है वो ये कि how to find mean, median, mod, and range. Okay. Mean is basically the average. Median is the middle value. Mod is the most repeated, most frequent one. And range is the difference of maximum and minimum. Okay. Now we have studied all this for two types of data. One was the raw data where we had some random numbers and stuff like that. And then we had a proper organized data which had frequency column in it. Okay. So today we'll talk about table data again, but this time you will see कि जो data है that would be in range. So let me make that example and then I'll explain that to you. Example number 1 for table data. What we discussed yesterday was that all the entries were single entries. For example, we had 0, 1, 2. So these were the marks and then we had the frequencies. Let's say it was 10, 8, and 5. Okay, this is what we did yesterday. You will see the difference in what we did yesterday and what we are going to do today. Today we'll talk about the range table. You'll see what exactly it is. Acha, range ko hum either we can call it class or we can call it interval. I'm just sharing these terms because the examiner can use these terms, so it's good that we are familiar with them. Okay, this is the total story. Now I'll write down the example and then things would be very, very clear. So just don't worry. Okay, so let me make a table first. Okay. So here we have X. These are the marks. And then we have the frequency. So the number of students who have their marks between 5 and 15 are 20. Okay. Number of students having their marks between 15 and 35 are 30. And number of students who have their marks between 35 and 40 are 10. Okay. Now this is the new thing. This is what we are going to talk about today. It is a table data, but the values of X are in range. Okay, Saneem, are you able to understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And again, things under discussion are, we used to call it mod initially. Now we'll call it model class. We used to call it median initially. Now we'll call it median class. And then I'll write down all the things we need to calculate. Okay. What is the model class? That's very simple. I'll just give you the idea and I want you to answer it. So mod is basically the most repeated or most frequent class. Okay. Because here we have the range. That is why I'm using the word class. So you need to check the frequency. So which class has most frequency or which class has the highest frequency?
5 to 15. Oh, sorry, 15 to 35.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, very well done. So the answer would be 15 less than X less than equal to 35. Very good. Okay. Next question is the median class. Okay. Now for the median class, our steps are going to be same. We are not going to do anything new. We know that first thing is to arrange the data in ascending order. Well, that is already arranged. Whenever we have the data in table form, it would be arranged always. Remember this, okay? So it is arranged. Next thing is to write down the formula n plus 1 divided by 2. This would be the median class. Let's just plug in the value. N would be summation f. What is summation f? 20 plus 30 plus, then it is 60. So it would be 61 by 2. So it would be the 30.5th term. Right? Okay. This is the 30.5th term. And where exactly is the 30.5th term lying? Okay. So we'll have first 20 terms here, then 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay. So here we have 20. Then by the end of this, we will be having the 50th term. It means that the 30.5th term would be lying here. Okay. Now, initially, please pay attention. Whenever we had 30.5th term, we used to pick up the 30th term, the 31st term, and divide that by 2. But this time around, please pay attention, the 30th term and the 31st term, both of them are basically this class, okay? They are this class. So the answer is going to be 15 less than x less than equal to 35. Yes. Okay, I'll repeat this again because it could be that it's confusing. Okay, I'll tell you. For median, we just have 2 steps. Step 1 is to just spend time and arrange the data in ascending order. But whenever the data is in the tabular form or whenever you have the table data, there's no point in arranging in ascending order because it is already arranged. Step 2 is writing down this formula. So using this formula, n was 60. N is summation f, the sum of all the frequencies. So we have 60 students, okay? So n is 60 and 60 plus 1 by 2 would give you 30.5th term. Now in past, like yesterday, we have been doing questions where we were asked to find median. And whenever we had this type of a thing, 30.5th, we used to pick up the 30th term, we used to pick up the 31st term, we used to add them and divide them by 2. Okay. Is this okay? This is what we have been doing. This is how it works. Okay. But the fact that the 30th term would be here and the 31st term would also be here. So there's no point in summing them and finding the difference. Okay. So always remember for this case, even if you're getting 30.5th or even if you're getting 41.5th or whatever it is, both the numbers would be in the same row. So you won't be basically adding up 2 different ranges and then dividing them by 2, right? Did you understood the point? Did you understand the idea?
Yes.
Okay, Turhan, please tell me if it's okay or not. Yes, Turhan, did you understand this? Okay, Turhan is not there. Right, so we are going to write down the answer. It would be 15 less than x less than equal to 35. Okay, these two were easy. Okay, let's talk about the third one, that is mean. Now we need to find the mean, And in order to find mean, like we have been doing yesterday as well, what is the formula? I told you, summation fx divided by summation f. This is how we do it. Okay. So yesterday we were discussing table data, but those cases were where the entries were single. This time around we have ranges, but yesterday we just had single x values, so we were directly multiplying them with f. This time around we need to do some additional steps. So I am going to add two entries in the table. Two more columns in the table. Okay. Now please pay attention. Mean is calculated using this formula. If you have raw data, you just add up all the values and then divide them by the number of values. But for tabular data, for table data, you don't do it that way. You just do summation fx over summation f. So you need fx. You need the product of frequency with x. You already have frequency. You do not have x. You have range of x. So in order to find this, you need to add another column that would give you x. Okay, so we write down middle x. This would basically give you the middle value of this range. How do we find the middle value? Can anyone tell me? You just need to add up these two, 5 plus 15, and divide it by 2. So you are going to get 10. Again, 15 plus 35 divided by 2. Turhan, can you tell me what value am I going to get in this case?
Which one?
This one. This one. This one.
Ma'am, I can't see your screen. It just went black.
Okay, I'll share it again with you. Wait a second. Okay, I have shared the screen again. You would be able to see that in some time.
Yeah, okay, so 61 over 2.
No, this thing. Like we are done with median, okay? We are talking about mean. For mean, I told you this is the formula. Initially, we only had these two columns in the table. Since we need fx, so I added this new column of fx, but I do not have x. So right now we are working here, okay? We are finding the middle value of these ranges to represent x. So we are on the second row. I'm here. What would be the middle value of the second range?
The middle value would be 25. With F, right?
Yeah, okay. Just 1 second only, please. Okay. So it would be 25. Very good. It would be 25. Okay. And then the last one would be 35 plus 40 over 2. It would be?
That is, wait, sorry, 1 second. That's 37.5.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. Now I want you to tell me the product of frequency with x. 20 into x would give you 200?
Yes.
Okay. And then 30 into 25?
20 into 25 times
25 into 30.
Yeah, 750.
Very good. And then the last one would be 375. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are done with f, x, and f. Now we need summation f and we need summation fx. So summation f is easy. That would be 60. Summation fx would be what, Saneem? Can you tell me? You need to add up
One.
all the entries in the fx column.
This is 1325.
Very good. Well done. Okay. So I'll plug in the values. It is 1325 divided by 60. So mean is going to be 22.08. This is going to be the answer. Okay. Anything that you have not understood? Right. Now the last thing is range. How do we find range? We find range by doing maximum minus minimum. So these are the marks. You have these marks in ranges already. From these ranges, you need to determine what is the least value of the marks and what is the maximum value. This is the minimum value. This is the maximum value. 40 minus 5 and it would be 35. So this is going to be the answer. Yes. Any confusions, anything that you have not understood?
No, minus K.
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay. So we are done with the first thing of this chapter. Let's talk about the second thing. I'll clear the screen. And now let's talk about histograms. Okay. Histograms are basically a kind of graph. You will be making bars and those bars would be connected. I'll get into the detail, but first you need to understand one thing. We have three different things, and for these three different things, we'll be getting three different types of histograms. Okay. The very first thing is if you have single value table, I'll tell you what to do in that case. Then the other one is if you have range table, but the class width is same, I'll tell you what exactly class width is. You know exactly how to find the range, right? You know what the class is. Class is basically that range which we have in the range tables, and width is basically the difference of two entries in the range. Okay, so that would tell you the class size. I'll explain this properly once we talk about an example. And here we have different class widths. Okay. So histograms are basically a type of a graph. I'll tell you how to make it. We'll make these graphs against the data entries we have, but we have three different cases. So our graph, our histogram would vary from case to case. If you have single value table, it would be different. If you have range table, when I say range table, that is just the case we have discussed earlier, okay, before this thing. And in that, when we have same class width, we'll be making a histogram one way, and if we have a different class width, we'll be making a histogram in a different way. Okay, so are you clear with the basic idea about it, with the basic structure of this? Yes. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the first scenario. Let's say you have single value table. Okay, now I am going to make that table so things would get clear. You will understand that what exactly the single value table. I made this yesterday as well, and we have calculated all the mean, median, and mode using the single value table. I'll write down the headings in the first row, then I'll write down the entries there. Okay, So these are the x's that, and they are basically the marks. And here we have the frequencies. So 20 students got 0 marks, then 10 students got 1 mark, then 40 students got 2 marks, and then I've missed one entry, so I would have to make it now. Okay, and 30 students got 3 marks. Okay, all right, so this is the idea about single value table, but the thing is that we need to represent this data using a histogram. So let's just do that. This is the frequency. And this is what we have here. Okay, now please pay attention. Okay, now for these scenarios, the histogram is going to be very simple. Let me plot it first. So this is 0, it's 1, it's 2, it's 3. Okay, we have the marks on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis, I'll write down the frequencies. So this is 10, 20, 30, and then that is 40. Okay. Now for 0, let's talk about the second one first. Okay, let's talk about this one. For this entry, I am going to make a bar that would be between 0.5 and 1.5, and it would be something of this type. Okay, this is what we have for 1. Then for 2, I am going to make a bar, and 2 would be between that bar. Okay, it's not like this. I think I need to use a line for this. Okay. Then I'm going to make another bar for 3. That would be against it. Okay. Now I did not make it properly because I know I would have to make it again. Okay. And for 0, it would be of this type. Okay, now please listen to me. At the moment, it's not correct because I need to tell you something. Okay, the idea about histograms for single value table is that we have 0, 1, 2, 3. We have 4 different types of marks. So we'll have 4 bars, and the height of the bar would depend on the frequency. Okay, every bar should have same size. My bars are not proper. I know that I knew that already, that I would have to make that again, because this is your important point you need to understand is, if 0 is one of your entry, you need to make the axis another way. Okay, so this is not correct because this bar should not come here like this. I'll make this again with a new axis, and then I'll tell you the idea. Okay, so if you have 0, then you need to start this when it is correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I need to make the bars again. Okay, so I'll make them again. Okay, so for 0, the frequency is 20. So it would be something of this type, right? 0 should be right in the middle. Okay. Now for 1, the frequency should be 10. So 1 should be right in the middle of the width of the bar. Okay. For 2, it is 40. The thickness and everything of the bars should be same. Okay. Obviously, it could be that my bar is not that perfect because I'm not making it on a grid, but you get the point. Okay. And for 3, it should be 30. All right. Okay. So this is going to be your histogram. Okay. First thing and the most important thing is that the x-axis would be made using this. If you have 0 there, please make 0 here. Okay. Then the marks are basically coming in the middle of this bar. Okay. And then the height of the bar is basically corresponding to the frequency. So we had frequency on the y-axis and marks on the x-axis. Yes. Did you understand this plotting of single value table? Yes, Turhan and Saneem. Okay. And what about you, Turhan? Turhan, did you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to clear the screen and now we'll talk about the next scenario. Okay. So instead of clearing the screen, it's good that I just rub these. Also, we'll have to change the timings for Ramzan because I think abhi Maghrib ki azan ho rahi hai, so that would not be possible. So think about that as well, okay? We'll have to change timings. Initially, I thought that these timings might work, but now I don't think so.
Ma'am, 4 o'clock Pakistan time is when I get home.
Okay.
So maybe after Maghrib classes.
After okay, we'll think about it. Like Ramzan में तो अक्सर सहरी and अफ्तारी के आसपास भी हो सकता है. Like not exactly उसके आसपास, मतलब कि later hours में भी. Okay, obviously I'll decide this with you guys and only then I would do something. Don't worry about it. I'll think about it. Shaneem, did you ask your like tutor कि वो timing change करेंगे कि नहीं?
Yes, most probably 2 to 3 हो जाएंगे.
अच्छा बस फिर तो ठीक है ना, फिर तो हम 1 घंटा पीछे कर सकते हैं. मैं एएस वालों को भी पीछे कर दूंगी. ठीक है? And then you yeah okay वो सही होगा फिर उसके उसमें. Okay. And most probably timings थोड़े short भी होंगे रमजान में, तो वो भी इंशाल्लाह that would work. Okay, all right, that is good. Acha, I'll just talk about it on group. Abhi, let's talk about this, okay? So this is, we are talking about how to make histograms for range tables. When the class width is same, okay? So if you remember, the sketch I made in the very beginning of this discussion had histograms on top. Then I made 3 further branches. One was for single value table. We are done with that. Second one was for range table with same class width. That is the easiest case. This is what we are going to do now. And then the last one would be the range table with different class width. Okay. So let me just enter the values quickly. Okay. So 20 students had their marks between 0 and 5. Then 10 students had their marks between 5 and 10. And then 40 students had their marks between 10 and 15. And then 30 students got their marks between 15 and 20. Okay, all right. Step 1 is to see if the class width is same or not. Okay. So for that, make it a practice. You are going to make another column. Okay. And this column would have class width of all the classes. What exactly are the classes here? Can anyone tell me? I told you in the very beginning. What is a class? Yes, please tell me. You should know that.
Range.
Very good. Turhan, can you tell me the first class here?
Ma'am, I can't hear you properly. Your voice is
Okay,
too low
can
right
you tell me the first class over here?
now. Yeah, okay. 2.5?
No, I'm talking about the first class. Okay, so basically when we were talking about how to find mean, mode and median for this data, in that case we had to make a separate column for x, and there we were talking about the middle value of these ranges. So yes, in that case we were calculating the middle values. Now we are talking about the histograms. For histograms, whenever you come across range table, we have ranges here. So this is a range table. Step 1 is to determine if the class width is same or not. My question from you is, what is class? What is a class? Okay. Now these are the classes. Okay, these are the classes. I explained this in the beginning of this class, so it could be that you joined later, that is why you don't know. It's okay, but these are the classes. When we say class width, that would just be the size of the class, so it would be just the difference of the last term and the first term. So the class width is 5. Again, 10 minus 5 would give you 5. 15 minus 10 would give you 5. And 20 minus 15 would give you 5. So this is the class width. All of them are 5. It means the class width is same. So let's see what we do for same class width. Did you understand the idea that why I am doing this? Because for different class width, the working would have been different. Okay. That
Yeah.
is why I need to spend time and see if the class width is same or not. Okay. If the class width is same, I would not be using this table, and it would be used when the class width is different. Okay, so for now, let's see how the histogram would be made. Okay, so I'll just label the axis. It's 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. It's 10, 20, 30, and 40. And now I am going to make the classes. Okay, look at this. I'm going to make the histogram, the bars. Okay, so 20 is the frequency from 0 to 5. So I am going to make a bar like this. 10 is the frequency for 5 to 10. So this would be the bar in this case. 40 is the frequency from 10 to 15. So this would be the bar. And then 30 is the frequency. So this is going to be your bar. Yes. So this is how you are going to make your histogram. Yes. Did you understand this thing? Yes, Turhan?
Yeah, ma'am, I get.
Okay, all right. Okay. Now let's talk about the third and the final case, that is a range table for different class widths. Let me just plug in the values and then I'll tell you how to do it. Okay. Okay, please pay attention. Now we are going to see how to make the histogram for different class width whenever you have the range table. So step one would be to make the column for the class width. I want Saneem and Turhan, both of you, to help me while writing down the entries of the class width. Okay, Turhan, what would be the class width for the first class for this one?
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
What would be the class width for the first class? Yes, Turhan?
The first one would be 5.
Okay. Saneem, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay. What would be the class width for the second class?
10.
Very good. For the third class?
5.
Okay. And Turhan, what about the last one?
5.
Very good. So what do you see? You see that the class width is same or different?
Different.
Different. Okay. So this is what we do for different class widths. And this time around, we are not going to cross the class width column. We'll take this account and then make the histogram. Okay. Once you know that your class width is different, you will make two big changes. First change would be that now on the y-axis, you are not going to keep frequency, you will keep frequency density. Now, what exactly is frequency density? I'll write it down here. So, frequency density is basically the ratio of frequency by class width. So you have frequency, you have class width. All you need to do is just add another column and I'll write down the frequency densities. Okay. So what would be the frequency density for the first one? It would be 20 divided by 5. Okay. It's frequency divided by the class width. I've written that over here and it would be 4. What would be the frequency density for the next one?
1.
Okay, very good. What about the third one, Turhan?
It would be 40 over 5, 8.
Very good. And for the last one?
That would be 6.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent, Turhan. Okay. Now we know we have our frequency densities. So I am going to first plot the frequency density axis according to these values. So I have 1 is the minimum value, 8 is the maximum value. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I repeat, we have three different types of histograms. For the first type, we have single table, single value table. Our working is direct. We make bars. All we need to see is that if 0 is in the entries, we write down 0 here. Okay. Then for the second case, we had range table with same class width. When your class width is same, you know what we do? We just cross the class width table. We have frequency on the y-axis, we have marks on the x-axis, and that is how we make the histogram. For this case, when your class width is different, you have big difference. Okay, you make frequency density, you plot frequency density on the y-axis, and you make an additional column for frequency density that is basically coming from frequency divided by the class width. Okay, now I need to make it. So from 0 to 5, the frequency density is 4. So it is going to be a bar of this type. From 5 to 15, the frequency density is 1. So from 5 to 15, the frequency density is 1. From 15 to 20, the frequency density is 8. Okay. So this is what I have. And then the last one is 25. And then from 20 to 25, the frequency density is 6. Okay. Yes. So did you understand the idea about this? Any confusions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now we are almost done. So I will just give you a quick recap. We'll talk about frequency polygons. Okay. So if you know how to make the histograms, frequency polygons are very easy. Okay. So this means histograms are very important. We have three different cases. The making of histogram would vary from case to case. If it is a single value thing, your working is direct. There's no point in finding out the class width and everything because you have single value. Okay. Only thing that you need to remember is that if one of your x is 0, you'll write that 0 here. Your x-axis would be a bit different, and you have frequency here, and then you just make the bars. If you have range table with same class widths, that is the easiest case. You just make the bars against frequency, and that is it. If your class widths are different, you have frequency density on the y-axis, marks on the x-axis. How do we find frequency density? Using this formula, frequency over class width, and that is how you make your bars. Okay, that is good. Once you know how to make the histogram in order to find the polygon, in order to see how to make that, I'll tell you. So let me just clear this since it is clear. We don't need all this. We just need a histogram, and then that is more than enough. Okay. Now we are talking about frequency polygons. Okay. Make a histogram and join midpoints of top. Okay, now this is a histogram. If you are interested in finding out the frequency polygon, you are going to make points on this. Okay. And now we are going to join these points. Okay. So let me just join them. That is it. And then I am going to rub the histogram. So this is your frequency polygon. I repeat. First, you need to make the histogram. Once you make the histogram, you need to make points on the midpoints of the bar and then join them by lines and then just rub the bars. So this is how you get the frequency polygon. Yes. Any confusions in this? Any confusions in this? Please confirm if you have understood the making of frequency polygon or not. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I need that again. Okay. So whenever your histogram would be made using the frequency density, like where you have the range table, the examiner might ask you this type of a question. Find the number of students who scored between 10 and 20 marks. Okay. Now it could be that the examiner might ask this question, and this would only be asked whenever the histogram is made using frequency density. And when does that happen? When you have range data with different class words. Okay. The solution is going to be this. In order to find the number of students, the number of things that would depend from case to case. Okay. You need to find the area of the bars between these two, this and this. So you need to find this area. Now these bars are nothing but two rectangles. We know how to find the area of rectangles, don't we? So let's do that easily. I want you, both of you, to find the area of this green shaded part and tell me. Yes, I'll be waiting. Very good, Saneem. What about you, Turhan? What would be the green area? Please tell me.
Below 10 and 20?
Sorry?
Below 10 and 20?
Yes, like between 10 and 20, okay? This screen area
Yeah, this is,
and
yeah,
then this one.
yeah.
Mhm.
The one you've shaded. The
Yep.
number of students?
Yeah, that would
Okay.
give you the number of students. But what is the green
Nine.
shaded? Hmm?
9.
The area, okay? Look, the area would be the area of the rectangles, okay? So this is 5, This is 1. 1 into 5 would give you 5. This is 5 and the height is 8. Okay.
45.
Very good. Excellent. So the number of students would be 45. Okay. Now what exactly is this thing? This is basically to give you an idea. I'll repeat. Whenever the examiner, not whenever, but most of the times you'll see this pattern in past papers as well. Whenever your histogram is being made using the frequency density, the examiner might ask you this question. Find the number of students who scored between 10 and 20. Okay. In that case, whenever, now obviously in this case he's saying number of students, it could have been number of kites, number of cups, number of things, number of clothes, it depends. Okay, that totally depends on the scenario. All you need to do is you need to find the area of the bars. Which bars exactly? You need to think about it. Okay, so between 10 and 20, so I've stated all the bars that were coming between 10 and 20, and then I've just used the formula for area of a rectangle, and then that is it. Okay. Yes, any confusions?
No.
Okay, what about you, Turhan? Did you understand the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing this. I'll stop the